So we want to welcome you, our viewers, and we bless God for you. And we thank God that He has been faithful. And by the grace of God, we are here another chance so that we can continue to learn. This is the Shepherd program where we talk about leader and leadership. We deal with all issues concerning leader and leadership and how effective we can continue to be as we carry on our leadership law. So this is Reverend George Kamanu, the senior pastor of Word of Faith Church Loiro. And we bless God for you as we welcome you so that we can continue to learn. We have always reminded you many times that the greatest miracle in your life as a leader is that you not be the same person you are today, tomorrow. So every single day, we need to learn something new concerning our leadership so that progressively our leadership will become effective, which is the will of God for us. The Bible says that the will of God is you move from one level of glory to the next level of glory. And we are believing God that even this moment, in our today's episode, we are going to take another step as we continue to improve our leadership. We bless God. So today we want to talk about disappointment. Because disappointment has caused so many leaders to lose their leadership. And others are so discouraged. And we want to know, so to study what discouragement is. We want to look at the causes of discouragement. And also we need to see how to handle discouragement as a leader. Because the truth is, at one time or another in your leadership journey, you'll be discouraged. You'll be disappointed because things did not go the way you expected. Now, if you get to that kind of a situation, and I know many times you have been there, then we need to ask ourselves, what do I do? Because we must be able to jump through all those barriers. And one of these days, by the grace of God, we are going to look at 7 barriers every leader must jump over to become effective and to remain relevant, to be indispensable. One of these barriers is called disappointment. It's a barrier that we must jump, whether you like it or not. And we need to understand it. Once we understand it, then we can deal with it. And once we deal with it positively, instead of it bringing us down, it will become, at last, it will be able to push us forward. Now, let's ask ourselves, what is disappointment? Or to be disappointed. Number one, to be disappointed is to be unhappy or discouraged because your hopes or expectations about someone or something were not satisfied. I want to say that again. When we say we are disappointed, is we are unhappy or we are discouraged because our hopes, our expectations about someone or something were not satisfied. That means this. To be discouraged, number 2, is to be upset. It is to be let down, to be disheartened, to be frustrated, to be displeased because something did not line up with your hopes and expectations of your reality. In other words, how things turn out to be is not in line with what you expected. And because of that, you feel upset, you feel let down, you feel disheartened, you feel frustrated, you are displeased because how the situation is, the reality of the situation and your expectation did not line up. That means this, we are saying this, disappointment stems from the gap between our expectations and the reality of a situation. That gap between what you expected and how the reality is or how the reality turned out to be, then that is where disappointment is. Remember, we as leaders, we lead people. And because we lead people, not everybody will do as we expected. Therefore, at one time or another, disappointment will be there. And follow this. So if you look at the difference, we say again, the difference between our expectations and the reality is the one that brings disappointment. Proverbs chapter 13, verse 12, this is what the Bible says, hope deferred make the heart sick. But when desire cometh, it is a tree of life. We read that again. Hope deferred make the heart sick. When hope did not line up with our expectation, how we expected things and how they turn out to be, if they did not line up, then it make the heart sick. But when the desire cometh, that's what the Bible says, When there is alignment between our expectations and the reality, then it becomes a tree of life. Disappointment is emotional pain and distress caused by delayed or frustrated hope. When we are talking about disappointment, we say again, it is the emotional pain. It is that distress that is caused by delayed or frustrated hope. When either the hope is delayed or it is frustrated, what happens? We get emotional pain, we get distressed, and that's how we get disappointed. Now, let's look at the importance of feeling disappointed. This may sound may sound something different, but I'll show you the importance of feeling disappointed. Every time you feel disappointed, you need to look at these three things, and so that they help us to remain positive. Follow this. Simply feeling disappointed about someone or something tell you three important things. As a leader, as a believer, wherever you are, then number one, it means you are passionate about something. It's supposed to tell you you got disappointed because you are passionate pursuing something. In other words, expectation is the root cause of all heartaches. When you feel that you are disheartened, normally it's because you had expectations that did not line up with the reality. So we say it again, disappointment. So it means expectation is the root cause of all heartache. And follow this. So every time you are disappointed, we need to realize this. You are disappointed because you are expecting and all working towards something. That's why you got so disappointed. As a leader, I got disappointed because there's something I was pursuing with the other leaders and it did not work out the way I expected. Or people did not respond the way I expected. We say again, you are disappointed because you are expecting. You were expecting another and all working toward something. Like this. What you call the philosopher Aristotle said one time that there is only one way to avoid criticism. And he said this, do nothing, say nothing, and be nothing. He said, if you want to avoid criticism in whatever you are doing, and as a leader, you need to realize whatever you are doing, some people criticize you, whether you like it or not. That's how life is. No, if you avoid to be criticized, and of course, these criticism are part of the causes of our disappointment, then we do nothing, we say nothing, and we be nothing. And because we must pursue that which God has called us to do, we must continue to pursue our leadership goals, then we expect at one time or another, you'll be disappointed. At one time or another, you'll be criticized. At one time or another, not everybody will line up with your expectation. Very important for you to know that. Number two, the other importance of feeling disappointed is that it is an opportunity for growth. If we look at disappointment positively, it will become an opportunity for growth. With the right mindset, you can grow through disappointment. Very important for that. With the right mindset, if we remain positive, we can grow through disappointment. From disappointment, you can start aligning your expectation with reality. Now that I have seen how things have turned out to be, even if it's a certain leader that I'm working with, the moment they have disappointed me, even if I'm going to continue working with that particular leader, it means now I need to align my expectation toward him so that I don't get disappointed again. Probably my expectations were too high. So I need to align my expectation well so that next time I will not be disappointed. You can also tailor your decisions so that you can avoid a repeat of the disappointment. So it can also help us in decision making. So being disappointed can become positive when it comes to decision making the next time. So because what I've gone through, it will help me now to align and to tailor my decisions well. Follow this. Disappointments are often the stepping stones toward growth and positive change. Very important. Disappointments are often the stepping stones toward growth and positive change. If we look at them positively, they can help us. Now because through disappointment, we get some wisdom. So in our leadership, because one of the reasons why many leaders are so disappointed, and even some people, leaders, are forsaking their assignment, is because they had so much and very high expectation toward others. So when it didn't line up, then they get so disappointed, they feel betrayed. And because of that, without this knowledge, then they just let go and they forsook their assignment. Then number 3, what is the other importance of feeling disappointed? It makes you stronger. It makes someone stronger. Knowing how to handle disappointment can be the starting point of getting stronger and more resilient. And I want to say that again. Knowing how to handle disappointment can be the starting point of getting stronger and more resilient. That means this: if we keep our expectations steady through time, the same things that disappointed us end up leading to a breakthrough. I want to say that again. That if we keep our expectation steady through time, because we should never lose our expectation, as our expectation must remain. So if we keep them steady, then the same things that disappointed us, because we are becoming wiser in the whole process, and we have aligned our decisions, we have aligned our expectation in the process, then the same things that disappointed us, then it end up leading us to breakthrough. Because if your expectation is steady, then yes, you go through the valley of disappointment. But after you go through the valley of disappointment, when you make it through, then it will give you a breakthrough. But that is how the reality is. And I want to repeat those 3 things again, because it's very important. The importance of feeling disappointed as a leader, as a believer, I'm saying wherever you are. Number 1, it means you are passionate about something. It is in the process of pursuing your passion that you get disappointed. So number 2, it is an opportunity for growth. If we look at positively, we have the positive mindset, then it can help us to continue growing. We said it will help us to align our expectations with the reality. It will help us to tailor our decisions accordingly. And then number 3, disappointment can make you stronger if you remain positive. You can grow through disappointment. And once you overcome, you make it through the valley of disappointment, then it will give you a breakthrough. But we must ensure that our expectations are steady over time. Very important for us to know that. Let's look at the causes of disappointment. What are the causes of disappointment? I'll tell you a few of them. There may be many. Number 1, the first cause is called faulty thinking patterns. When somebody is thinking negatively, or they are thinking so longly, so to say, then it can make them vulnerable to disappointment. Follow this: negative or irrational thinking, which manifests through what you call catastrophizing. In other words, you just see things as a catastrophe. You just think ending badly. Then also overgeneralization. Now your overgeneralization says, I expected it to be like this. Because you passed through a certain issue, then you just expect, you generalize, even where you are right now, it will end up as it ended up last time. Or what you call negativity. All those faulty thinking patterns, they make someone to become vulnerable to disappointment. Remember Proverbs chapter 23 verse 7? The Bible says, as a man thinketh, so he is. So how you think, eventually it is how it shall end. Remember this: what goes on in your mind will one day happen. What goes on in our mind will one day happen. So if our mind is programmed toward negativity, so that negativity will one day happen. Remember this: what your mind conceives and believes, it achieves. I'll say again, what your mind conceives and believes, it will achieve. That's why we need to check our thinking pattern. We must always think positively. We must always expect the best. Okay, even if you have been frustrated, you have been disappointed by this person, the last season, we need to always remain positive and believe that this time everything will work well. So that's number 1. We call it faulty thinking patterns. The other thing that causes disappointment is self-doubt and fear. Self-doubt and fear. That means this: self-doubt and fear causes disbelief in one's ability to succeed. You don't believe in your ability to succeed, and also it brings the fear. Bring the fear of taking risks. Somebody does not take risk. thus increasing the vulnerability to disappointment. We see again, self-doubt and fear, it causes disbelief in one's ability to succeed. And then it also brings fear of taking risk. So someone does not take risk, and thus increases the vulnerability to disappointment. Helen Keller one time said this: life is inherently risky. There is only one big risk you should avoid at all costs, and that is the risk of doing nothing. Those are the words of Helen Keller, and I'll say them again. Life is inherently risky. There is only one big risk you should avoid at all costs, and that is the risk of doing nothing. So because in this life we must try. If we don't try, then we may not succeed. It is better you try and fail rather than not to try and not realize whether you could have made it. That's why when fear comes in, it paralyzes our ability to try and to risk. And because of that, automatically we are going to fail. And through that failure, disappointment will become real. Number 3, the other causes of disappointment is trauma and past experiences. We say the trauma and past experiences. So past traumatic experiences of loss or disappointment can become self-fulfilling prophecy when we pass through similar experiences in the present. I want to say that again. Past traumatic experiences of loss or disappointment can become self-fulfilling prophecy when we pass through similar experiences in the present. In other words, we say, as it was, so it will be. Well, the Bible says that Jesus was, Jesus is, and Jesus will be. Sometimes we can say, as it was, so it will be. Those traumatic experiences, if we don't handle them well, or we have not overcome them, then they will make us again being vulnerable to disappointment. So that's why we need to overcome. We need to overcome those challenges, those experiences. We learn from them, we become better, so that when we face even similar circumstances in the coming days or in the present, then we can be able to handle them. So that's very important. When we pass through those traumatic experiences, especially the experiences of childhood, it can cause us to somehow to be oversensitive. And in the process, it paralyzes our ability even to trust people. Then number 4, the other causes of disappointment is overly high and unrealistic expectation. This is where we have overly high and unrealistic expectation. Yes, we are men and women of faith, and the just shall live by faith, but at the same time, we need to check our expectation. There are people with unrealistic expectation. If you have unrealistic expectation toward people, the guarantee is you will be disappointed. Follow this. Holding overly high expectations for yourself, others, and situations can lead. They can lead. Follow. So they can lead. They can lead to disappointment. And I will say that again. Very important for us to know that holding overly high expectation for yourself and others, and even the situation you are in, it can easily lead to disappointment. And we need to check, even when we expect from people, let's check let's have a balanced expectation. Otherwise, if we have too much expectation, and especially I've realized this as a leader, when we come into meetings, sometimes as a leader, I've had very high expectation towards some people, and when they fail to come or they come late, I feel let down. But now I've learned to adjust my expectation. I've learned to adjust my expectation. And because of this understanding, every program now that we start in church, in our church in Loilo, I always start that program so that I can do it myself. Well, we have a morning program that we learn every day, Monday to Friday at 5 in the morning to 6, morning devotion. And when we started that program, we started the program so that myself I can pray. I wanted to do it myself. So therefore, even my own wife and my own children, it was not in me that they must do it. But I bless God that they embrace the program, and we normally go with them and many other brethren who are doing it. And we bless God, we are increasing by day now. But in the beginning, we were very few. So if I started the program so that it will be a program for the members of the church, the truth is it could have been a very, very great disappointment. Because especially in the first days, I was going alone. I remember there was a time that even I was going without my wife. But the truth is, I started the program for me to pray. Therefore, when others come, it's okay. So that is, in other words, I've managed my expectation. Now, these days, when I see people are increasing, I bless God. Because there is a room for that in my expectation. Of course, I am expecting even others to come. But there's a particular person probably I was expecting, because these people are closer to the church and they are the one who should be able to do it with me. But then I realize even some of the people that are coming are the ones that are far from the church. But the truth is, because of balancing the expectation, I am not frustrated and will not get frustrated. Number 5 is unmet expectation. In other words, that's issue. We talk about a broken promise. We talk about a failed plan. We talk about a failed relationship that did not live up to your hopes. Probably you're in a relationship, even on this, and this is why I pray that even the young people can listen well, because the truth is they are broken promises. Not every promise will come to pass. The only promise we are guaranteed of is the promise given by God. But the promise given by human being, they have the possibility of failing. Then there's a plan that you had, whether it was an investment plan, a leadership plan, and a development plan, they did not work out according to expectation. There was a relationship that you had very high hopes, it did not work according to expectation. Then it can bring what you call frustration. And that frustration will lead to disappointment. Then number 6, we call it God's answer to prayer. For the God answer to prayer. That means this: when prayers are not answered according to our expectation, in regard to specific way and specific time. In other words, God did not answer our prayers according to how we expected. We want to say that again. When prayers are not answered according to one's expectation, in regards to specific way and specific time. It is good that for us to acknowledge that God is sovereign and God knows what is good for us. God is omniscient. God is omnipresent. God is omnipotent. He has all the power. He has all the knowledge. And God knows everything about our life from beginning to the end. The Bible says, Isaiah chapter 46, verse 9 and 10, He declared the end from the beginning. So God knows what is good for me. And because God is a father who cares and He is concerned with my life and my future, and because He is the one who has that future and He is the one holding it, and He is working everything in my present to fulfill that future, then God will answer our prayers according to the future that He has for us. And that's why we must be able to give God that space. So not everything will be answered according to how you expected, either in regard to specific way or specific time. And that's why we must be able to adjust and give God that room that He is God. He knows what is good for us, and He will answer in accordance to what will work for our present and our future. Then number 7, what is the other cause of disappointment is interpersonal disappointment. That means this one involves feelings of betrayal. It involves feelings of lack of support or rejection from significant others. Follow this, especially family members or close friends or romantic partners. I want to say that again. It comes through the feelings of betrayal, lack of support, or rejection from significant others. And more so, especially those close family members or close friends or romantic partners. So it can lead to disappointment when you feel you are let down by the people you trusted. We call them the significant others. And if you look at Psalms 55, you see David was betrayed by Ahithophel, who was a very trusted advisor. And because of that, it pained David so much. In fact, if you look at the prayer that David was praying to God for Ahithophel, then you can realize it was a prayer that was prayed out of disappointment. Many times, because of the trust that we have toward people, when they don't live up to that trust, then it becomes a great betrayal. And that betrayal leads to disappointment. And I know all the pastors, especially pastors who are listening to us, I know they have this testimony. They know this. Especially, many pastors have a testimony with the keyboard people. Those guys, most time, they normally disappoint us. Yes, and every pastor has a story. Me, I always say when we go to heaven, one of the stories we shall share together with the pastors. I think because we shall know one another. It is the story of keyboard people. Because those guys, many times they frustrate us. But we bless God for those who are faithful. And of course, they are there and they will remain. You expected this person to do this. You expected them to come early. Then these are the praisers and worshipers. You expect them to come to church early so that you can start the service. Then they don't make it. So if we don't be able to control our expectation well, then it can lead to frustration. Na unakuta hata kabla service ianze umekosa appetite ya service. Because you feel disappointed, you feel let down by that person you trusted, because you thought that hata wale wengine wakichelewa fulani hawezi chelewa. But ukweli ni kwamba hata huyu ambao unafikiria ama unawasa hawezi chelewa, the truth is they are human beings. They have their own challenges as well. They may be going through a low season in their personal lives. They may be going through a valley season. And probably we are not aware. This person is so sacrificing a lot to become and to be there. We want to repeat again the 7 things, because this is a class of learning and we come here to learn. So these are 7 courses. This is just part of it. There are many others. You can be able to attach to them. It is 40 thinking patterns. If you think negatively or you always expect things to be negative, ukweli ni kwamba they will turn up to be the same. What your mind conceives and believes, eventually it will achieve. Number 2, we are talking about self-doubt and fear. If you have self-doubt and fear as a leader, and then what it means, it paralyzes your ability to work towards success, and eventually it will paralyze your ability to risk. And without risking, you cannot be successful. Follow this. Then number 3 is trauma and past experience. Those past traumatic experiences, if we don't work on them well, they can even lead us to challenge, a lot of challenge. And we need to work on them. Then number 4 is overly high and unrealistic expectation. And this has been a challenge. So as a leader, let's have realistic expectation. And also want to tell you this, even us, the rest of us who are being led, especially by our pastors, let's also have realistic expectation toward our pastors and realize that our pastors are human beings. So our pastors is human being. Unasikia pastor kitu ikifanyika watu wanakuja wanastuka. Sidi wanasema hey, I didn't expect pastor to do that. I won't tell you this, pastor is a human being. It is only that the grace of God enables us even as we work on self-discipline. So overly high and unrealistic expectation is another great challenge. Then number 5 is unmet expectation, whether it is a broken promise, whether it's a failed plan or a relationship that does not live up to your hopes. Then the other one is we are talking about God answer to prayer. When God does not answer prayer according to how you expected it. Then, and we say, let God remain God. He is sovereign. He is the Almighty. He is all-knowing. He knows what is good for us. We can pray this way, but God can answer the prayers in a way that is in line with His purpose for our lives in the present and in the future. And then, of course, interpersonal disappointment. This one comes through feelings of betrayal, lack of support, or rejection from significant others, and especially those who are very close to us, family members, close friends, romantic partners, the high levels of our lives. And many times, if we don't balance, then it can become a very great challenge. And we bless God for you, and we'll get another opportunity to continue. And we always take opportunity to welcome you to our church. You can always get a chance to come. If you're living around Kiambu area, you can come to our church in Kiambu. Come and partner with us. Come and fellowship with us. If you're living around Loilo, you can come to our church. It's in a place called Watalam White House, and we'll be glad to see you. God bless you, and I pray that God will help you to manage your disappointment. In the next episode, by the grace of God, we are going to look at how to overcome disappointment. But even before we go there, one of the ways to overcome disappointment is to have realistic expectation. Let's balance our expectation so that we don't enter into challenges. God bless you. God do you good. Wish you well as you continue to work on your leadership and to become better. Shalom, shalom, shalom.